Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba says he will crack down on illegal foreign nationals in the city. He also took a swipe at the Department of Home Affairs for their lack of resolve in dealing with criminal elements. Mashaba's comments come in the wake of the torching of houses by residents of Rosettenville on the south of Johannesburg. The houses are said to belong to foreigners who are allegedly selling drugs and running prostitution rings in the suburb. Mashaba says the illegal foreign nationals will be arrested.
People are really desperate. They're crying for help, political leadership. I just listened to Colonel Dlamini here. I feel sorry for our law enforcement agencies that are actually failed by political leadership in this country with porous borders where South Africa is made to be a heaven for criminals. They are compromised by the level of criminality that's in our city with so many of these people who are in our country legally with no documentation. On Sunday, if I had a place to take those people, I wanted to arrest them myself. Yeah. But I realized the implications. Where if some of these criminal elements are saying they're seeking amnesty in our country, I'm calling on the national government, Home Affairs in particular, please protect our residents, protect our country. Don't play. We cannot afford to have South Africa as a failed state, allowing criminals to be in our country. So work as a matter of agency to ensure that those that deserve to get asylum papers, you give them, and those that we need to get out of our country, let's do that. Because for us as JMPD, we are committing. As of tonight, we're going to start making life difficult. Johannesburg is going to be very small for them. We sit with a huge problem because us as a city of Johannesburg, we don't have control over our borders. That is why national government has to take the responsibility because they are the ones responsible for our borders. They are the ones responsible for issuing documentation to human beings. You know, I keep telling people, in this country, as a South African, at birth, like right now, there's a child being born in this country. By law, you've got to, at birth, immediately be given a birth certificate. At the age of 16, Leon, as a South African, it's not negotiable. You've got to have an identity documentation. Why then, all of a sudden, we are allowing people coming from all over the world, we're saying, no, it's okay for them not to have documentation. But we're imposing this on South Africans. This is unacceptable.
Well, reaction is pouring in following Mayor Mashaba's comments today. He says illegal foreign nationals will be arrested in Johannesburg. Well, Sharon Ekambaram is the head of the Refugee and Migrant Rights Program at Lawyers for Human Rights. She joins us on the line now from Johannesburg. Good afternoon, Sharon, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk. You've just heard the mayor there. What do you make of his commentary this morning, and why should we be cautious about such sweeping generalizations on criminality?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, I think that it's very, very worrying to hear political leaders, any leadership in our country make, as you say, such wide-sweeping generalizations, especially in a context of a country like South Africa, which has a very, very serious, reality of xenophobia and xenophobic violence. And we bore the brunt of this in 2008. We, as the Lawyers for Human Rights, an organization working with refugees and migrants in South Africa, we see the face of serious abuse that foreign nationals face in our country. People who are seeking asylum and from a context where we know there is conflicts going on, whether it's the DRC, whether it's Somalia, and people seeking refuge from persecution and this kind of violence. And this is the reaction that the South African government and our mayor in particular is giving them.
Sharon, it's not the first time the mayor has voiced similar sentiments. During his 100-day progress report last year, he said illegal foreign nationals living in our city, Johannesburg, must be treated as criminals since they came to the country illegally. Can you just quickly clarify for us this important distinction between undocumented foreign nationals and the criminal element that we're seeing?
Well, that's the point, that people coming to the country, trying to get documented. The Department of Home Affairs, Marabastad, is in crisis. It's collapsed as far as we are experiencing the difficulties of accessing the department, the Refugee Reception Office, in order to get legal and to get their documentation. So there needs to be resources and there needs to be a look at that system of how do we ensure that people can get documented. The second is that the mayor needs to make a distinction. We deal with crime. Of course we have to deal with crime. But it's a basic tenet of our democracy that someone is innocent until proven guilty. You have now made all foreign nationals guilty of crime. We would ask the mayor to prove to us with scientific, proper research, where is it documented that all our crime is because of foreign nationals in the city and because they're undocumented. You cannot make such generalizations without verifying, providing evidence and proof that you are doing that. And the second is deal with the crime. Go and arrest people that are, causing the crime and bring them to book. But why do you make the accusations before you even have the proof and the evidence that's what they're guilty of?
All right, Sharon, what should Home Affairs be doing on its side to speed up the documentation of foreign nationals? Very quickly, I know it's a complex issue, but just take us through the key issues.
Well, I think that there is a serious issue of being able to get documented. And as I said, we have policies, we signed on to the convention, ensuring that we are providing refuge for people seeking, fleeing to our country and seeking asylum. So that's refugees, asylum seekers. Then we also have in our country a serious issue of economic migrants, and that goes back to our past, to colonization, to the apartheid state that exploited black labor. So we have that history of the mining companies, for example, bringing in cheap black labor from the neighboring countries, but like with any other country, whether it's Europe, a continent like Europe, where you allow urbanization to take place, it was not allowed to take place naturally in our context. So black people were not allowed to move and to get a place in a place like Johannesburg. Now, you cannot punish black people because of that, because there was not, through legislation, we were not allowed to live a decent life with respect for human dignity. And we are saying that this is contrary then to the ethos of which this new democracy came about, which we fought for. We fought for respect for human rights and human dignity of all people. Our constitution very clearly says that you have the right to basic human rights and human dignity, for education, for access to healthcare, if you're in the country, not just only for South African citizens.
Sharon Ekambaram. Yes, Sharon Ekambaram, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We are running out of time. Sharon, of course, is the head of the Refugee and Migrants' Rights Program at Lawyers for Human Rights, joining us on the line from Johannesburg there.